So we have another tool that we can use, and it's called a strategic profit model. So the strategic profit model looks kind of complicated, but if you've taken an accounting course, these are pretty simple. For example, sales revenue minus cost of goods equals gross profit, right? And then you can look at logistics costs plus sales and administration equals total expenses, total operating expenses. You add taxes and interest, subtract those two from gross profit, and you have net income. Divide that by sales revenue, you have profit margin. So you see all the ones in purple. You have cost of goods, profit margin, or gross profit, net income, profit margin, return on assets. And then on the bottom we have inventory, current assets, total assets, and asset turnover. All these purple ones here are ones that we impact the most. So if we have a simple financial statement, which is here. Now, you can take a quick look at this. These numbers can be anything that we run across. These are just some example numbers. If you remember back to our profit leverage model, you'll see that these are the same numbers. Let's go ahead and take these numbers and put them into our baseline starting position here. So sales revenue of 100 million minus cost of goods sold 68,750,000 equals gross profit margin of 31,250,000 dollars, and so on and so forth. So that's just throwing all the numbers on here, and we have a total return on assets of 10%. Not bad. Return on assets of 10% is not bad at all. So what if we were to reduce the cost of purchased goods? So if we reduced our cost of goods sold, so we took it from 68 million down to 61 million dollars, and then our inventory, so our cost of goods sold from 61 million down to 68 million down to 61, and then our inventory dropped from 10 million to 9 million. So our cost of goods sold, our gross profit margin went up quite a bit, which means also our taxes did go up a little bit though, because now we have more profits, so taxes went up a little. But our net income went up, which means our profit margin went up. Since our inventory went down, our current assets went up a little bit, or I'm sorry, went down. And then our total assets went down. So it means our assets turned over a little bit more. On the last screen it was 2, and now it's 2.04. But our return on assets was 10 on the last slide, but now it's 21.42. All from reducing our cost of purchased goods. So by reducing the cost, we can have a larger return. We just doubled our return on assets by reducing our costs. Now this is a pretty good example. I would never ask you to expect to double your return on assets, but it's a good goal to shoot for. And you see how we dropped our inventory by $1 million. It went from 10 to $9 million. And that had a major impact too, because now we're turning our inventory more. Our asset turnover, instead of 2, meaning roughly about once every 180 days, our inventory would turn over twice a year basically, to 2.04. So let's say that's 175 days, roughly, that's turning over instead of 180 days. Turnover is good. So that means our profit margin should increase because of all our cost cutting. Our asset turnover increased, so that both numbers increase, so our return on assets have increased. So this is just one way that we can see how our return on assets have greatly increased because of our cost reduction. And like I said, this is just a tool out of many that you will learn throughout the semester on this course. So, this was the last tool I'm going to show you in this topic. We'll do a quick recap, and then we'll move on to topic 2 after the next video.